Yes, finally. Oh,
We did it.
finally. Finally. Oh my
The
goodness.
Lord has done it finally.
Can we
Finally,
do our
finally.
hands like this?
How are you, beautiful?
I am doing
Lovely
well.
today.
You look so good and gorgeous as always.
Mhm.
Great.
It's how we do. It's
Lady
how we
Braladay,
do.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. How's
Yeah,
Raleigh today?
doing. It's sunny, it's warm, and it's bright, so it's good. It's good. Yeah. What about you? What about
All the good stuff.
Texas?
We are already in summer because we don't normally play like that. We're just like, let's know what we are doing in life. If it's spring, let it be spring. If it's
Let it
summer,
be
let it be
spring.
summer. We're
Let
not
it
up
be
north
summer.
either. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow. So good to have you here.
Yeah,
Super excited about your participation, if I would say.
that's what it is. And if you're joining us, go ahead and share with others. I'm also doing the same
Yes,
thing right here.
yes. I am
Share with
doing
all your
same.
peeps.
I am doing same as well. I am.
Because it's about to be a very great conversation and really relevant as well. I know sometimes we think that, oh, okay, maybe not for us, but I think that everyone can learn something from here. Because what I noticed when I started diving into this research is that there is the fatherless, there are the daddyless, but guess what? There is too. The ones that were present but not emotionally available. That got me, man. That definitely got me. Are you still there? Let me know if you're there. I'm
I am
just
here. I am here.
okay, good, good.
Yes.
Okay.
I was saying to myself, I was like, you've done the work, you've done the research, because when I saw the video you sent my way this morning, I was like, she's really digging in, like she's really knowing my stuff.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes. Welcome, everyone. We can see some people joining. Welcome. I'm just going to wave everyone. So let's just go ahead and delve in. Let's get started.
Absolutely.
Would you mind introducing yourself to my community,
Wow.
Coach Braladay, because you're my guest. I
Wow.
would
I
like
just
to know
don't
you. A
know
lot
how
of
this
people
is
already
playing.
know me. Those in my community know that I founded the Gem Daughters Network. I am Dr.
Oh,
Wesley, so I need no further introduction. So please take the
absolutely.
stage.
All
Yes.
right. So my name is Bra Lade, and usually I have people say it after me. I say Bra Lade. So that way you don't forget. My name means that something special has arrived, and I truly believe that I'm one of the most unique people you'll meet in your lives because I'm a paradox and a multifaceted person. So when
Yes.
I'm asked to introduce myself, sometimes it gets hard because I'm like, which one? But at my heart, I'm someone who deals in the business of transformation by words. In my day job as an engineer and as a leader, I transform using technical processes, right, and chemistry. And in my being as a writer, I transform through words, and then I coach, I lead, and more recently, I did a film as well. But most of all, the one theme that runs through everything I do is boundaries, because I truly believe if anyone is to actualize themselves, is if anyone is to live a whole and full life, then boundaries is a mastery and a competency that they must have. So
Yes. Yes. Keep going.
so yeah, that is me in a nutshell. I love having conversations like these. So if you do have questions, put them in the chat, and we'll be taking it right here as well. Okay.
Yes. Welcome. Thank you so much. That was a very modest introduction, I would say. Because there is more to Braladay than she just described. So I'm sure she's trying to be humble,
And no, this is in a nutshell.
trying to
In
take things
nutshell.
one step at a time. Yes, I just turned on my mic. Okay, hopefully that works. Okay,
Good.
awesome.
Yes, we can hear
Okay,
you.
thank you so much for being here, Coach Braladay. Like I've known Braladay for a while now, so we've grown together, we're growing together, we're building together, we're doing stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, knowing Brother Day and especially the work you do around boundaries was something very fascinating, you know, to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought deep the other day, I was like, oh my goodness, it's so interesting
Wow.
how, you know, I work with fatherless daughters. I am building a community of, you know, daddyless daughters that are transitioning into priceless germs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm creating resources that could serve this, you know, uniquely created population, if I would say. And I thought about your work on boundaries, and I was like, isn't it so interesting that most of the biggest challenges that all fatherless
Mm-hmm.
daughter can, you know, resonate with is the issue of boundaries. You know, we talk a lot about, you know, mending and transforming the fractured father to daughter relationship. We talk
Wow.
about, oh, as a daddyless daughter, you've got to build, you've got to move past your, you know, your past
Yeah.
and, you know, create a future for yourself. We talk about all this beautiful stuff. But you know, even at the root cause is the issue of boundaries. It's like how do we build, how do we go past our past, like we all been told to do, and how do we create that future that we desire, the future that we all long to live in,
Mm-hmm.
while still maintaining a healthy boundaries, while still doing the things that we're called to do. So that's when you came on board. I was like, no, we need you in our community. We do, because even as we'll be delving into, you know, unlock personality tests that
Yeah.
the Gem Daughters Network actually houses in this particular season, and we delve into the different archetypes of daddyless daughters. Boundaries, you would see, is a pattern that cuts across all the daddyless daughter. And so we can't wait to
Mm-hmm.
just hear what you have to share, you know, in that regard. So,
So
yes,
before
take
we
the
dive
stage.
into the business of boundaries, you have to
Yeah.
tell us how you unlocked this thing. We need to hear that bit from you.
Oh, yes, the story of my life, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to share this aspect, the narrative and the journey of unlock personality test. Um, I'm a daddyless daughter, you know. Everything I'm building is birthed from my experience. It's not news
Mm-hmm.
that's what it is. And so I had walked the walk, and now it was time to do the work. Like, it was time to talk the talk, if I would say,
Yeah.
after walking the walk. And what I mean walking the walk is actually going through, you know, the journey of excavating my past, you know, going deeper and really looking at what was I manifesting, what were
Mm-hmm.
some characteristics that I was, you know, portraying as a result of my experiences as a daddyless daughter. And I had gone through that journey, and trust me, I would say with all fact that I had gotten to a point of transformation. I was transformed. You know, I was healed. I'd gone through the phase of forgiveness, acknowledgement, awareness, you know, healing, and all of the principles that I had
Yeah.
adhered to. And I was at the phase of transformation, and then I was done. I was like, okay, bye. I'm healed. I'm whole. It's time to move on. And now I got to that pivotal moment in my life where everything came to a halt. And it was like, no, you can't go anywhere when we have
Mm-hmm.
so many daddyless daughters out there, who are still in the pit, who are still in the past, who are still unhealed and broken. And, you know, as a researcher by default, what else will I do? I had to put on my research hat. I went into the deep work of writing, really
Yeah.
wanting to understand. I was so fascinated by, you know, the kind of person I am, and wanting to know what kind of daddyless daughters exist out there,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And there was a whole lot of research, you know, going through the communicative side of research, looking at psychology, bringing in clinical
Mm-hmm.
psychologists, like just doing so many things, looking
Yeah.
at different field and expertise to really know, and also gathering data, you know, from lived experiences of other daddyless daughters that exist out there. And there we came about the personality types. Can you believe it? And you know, we created this research,
Mm-hmm.
you know, scientific proven, just really backed up, and we came up with this different types that we've seen across all spectrums. So every and any daddyless daughter will identify with at least one of them. What differs is at some point we realize that based on the season we are, it can change, you know. Today you can be a go-getter persona, you know, because there are different types. And in another season, you find yourself as a magnetic persona because there are different types of personality that daddyless daughter express. So that's the story, a little bit of story of how I got here and how we got here with these resources that is out there to just transform the lives of many people. Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing how, you said that with some smiles, it shows there's a level of healing. I think
Yes.
healing eventually crystallizes in help to others.
Yes.
I believe that healing isn't just something that it stays within. The fullness, the bloom of healing is reaching out to other people.
Yep.
That's what it
Exactly.
is. And
Yes.
that's essentially what you started doing with this. You didn't just master your own um, personality type, your own, how this has impacted you, personality type. You
Mhm.
studied other people's ones as well. And you made it
Yes.
into this beautiful resource called Unlock.
Unlock personality test. Yes.
My So can you tell us how, I know you shared a bit about how you came to do this work, but can you tell us what those personality types are in essence, or the impact you found that this has had as people get to know their
Mm.
personality type? What does it equip them to do?
Those are two questions right there. But I'll start with the first. I'll start with the first.
Mm.
We have so many personality tests out there, but this is just unique to daddyless daughters. So it's very important that we define the population that this personality serves, the
Yeah.
personality test serves. And there are four different types. One would argue, oh, there should be more than four. But you know, when it comes to personality, you want to make sure that it's tight and it's really focused on a particular
Mhm.
um, number that would make sure that anybody and everybody will at least fit the category. And that's how we came about four different types of personality types. The first is the go-getter woman, go-getter persona. I remember sharing it with you the other day. I was like, I'm the go-getter. You said, I know.
We know. No
Yeah, we
anything we
know.
know.
The go-getter persona, reflect a powerful drive, for success and self-sufficiency, and this is often rooted in desire to
Oh my
compensate
God.
compensate for the feelings of inadequacy or rejection
Mhm.
or the loss that stems from the relational dynamics with their father.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of things that's what I was saying in the last Unlock series I had with a guest. And I was like, a lot of feminists that we see, hyper independent women that we see who speak from a place of hurt. Most of them, if you go deep and you really excavate their
Mhm.
experiences, you realize that the independency or the drive for success or the self-sufficiency often stems from the feeling of inadequacy or the rejection they've experienced in the past.
Yeah.
And they're just like, you know what, I'm going to build this wall. I'm not going to get hurt anymore. And I'm going to rely on myself and not rely on anybody. And that's what births the go-getter woman. And while all these traits are really good, because one of the things that this personality does is we don't just call out the dysfunctions, we also highlight the strength,
So good.
that these women are actually expressing so that they can see that it's not all that bad, but this is a better way to live healthy, and then we provide transformative resources that they could use in their healing and transformation journey. And so that's the first one. The second is the magnetic persona.
Mm.
We know of the magnetic as someone who deeply craves closeness with others. Even when she has to sacrifice herself for it. That's the thing. And so we
I
have
want to
that
get my pen
daughters
and
that,
write as you're talking because this is so good. But keep going.
yes, we have daddyless daughters that are so, craving, they crave closeness with others at the expense of themselves. And that's the issue of boundaries right there, where it's
Okay.
like, because they are yet to develop an authentic self. They are yet to develop healthy parts of themselves. So their patterns often revolves around, being polished, being charmed, appearing like they are seeking external validation, people pleasing. We can go on and on. They're too
Yeah.
focused on their appearances, and these are the magnetic. types of persona that exist in the dynamics of a father to daughter relationship. And then the third one we've got is the wanderer. The wanderer persona deeply reflects the emotional wounds that, as it deeply reflects that manifest as being
Mm.
dependent and sometimes self-sabotaging behaviors in relationships. And if a lot of daddyless daughters do not take the time to really understand what persona am I expressing, oh, and now I see clearly. Now I see that this is why I make the choices. This is why I make my decisions this way, or this is why I made it into this relationship, or this is why
Yeah.
I selected the career that I selected, because they are all interwoven. And so this wanderer
Mm.
persona kind of has this drive and passion for love, but helplessly dependent on someone else, as opposed to the go-getter who is just so independent. This person cannot even do anything without relying on the other person
Or
because of,
someone else.
the fear
Mm.
of, being left alone, the fear of just finding it very difficult to set boundaries, and establish healthy connections and relationships. And then we come to the final persona, which is the hermit. The hermit persona is actually one who reflects deep emotional wound as a loss of our, father's absence. And this manifests in how they are kind of like, they find it very hard to form emotional connections. They are very isolated. You find this kind of people that, very indifferent, very aloof, they stay aloof, they create that, they alienate themselves from the pack. They are often, they feel that when they rely on someone or they ask for help, it's a sign of weakness. And so these people are also independent, if you would say, but they are independent in a very healthy way because it's all stemming from their past relationships, especially the lack of relationship with their father.
Mm.
And so we have to highlight the fact that, they isolate themselves, they avoid being vulnerable, they are the kind of person that will just be in a room of people and will not even talk to anybody. They are this kind of person as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is, in a nutshell, that's what I would say. If you want to know more, go take the test.
Oh my gosh, this is so
Yes,
good. You know
yes.
why? Because like when people are setting boundaries, I think sometimes people don't make it unique to them. They look
Mhm.
and they see, oh, this is how Doris talks, and this
Yes.
is how Doris says no. So they go ahead and they say, meanwhile, you don't know when Doris said no and she walked away, like it wasn't in her mind anymore. But you stayed up all night thinking about just that one no
Thinking
you
about
told.
it.
That means the way you might be built, if you are a hermit or if you display more hermit style
Yes.
personality versus wanderer, the
Yeah.
way you coordinate. If the hermit is becoming more engaging, you don't tell them, oh, no, 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 don't talk to people.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if you were a wanderer, you could be told that it's okay, you don't need one more friend.
You got it.
You don't need to
Exactly.
go to one more place. You're fine just as you are. So this is why this is so important for people
Yep.
to study this and begin to apply it to their lives. I
Applied.
think it's so
Yes.
important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I love what you just shared about, different, even boundaries has to be
Yeah.
different for each personality. And people don't think about it that way because we live in a world where, there's this theory, lots of opinions are circulating or they're just going across social media. You know what
Mm.
I'm talking about. And so we look at someone else's life and we're like, oh, they did this. And we go ahead and apply exactly what they do and we feel haunted, like you said. But when you realize that you know your persona, you know the things that you're likely to do, the kinds of boundaries you will set for yourself will be
Mm.
different from a go-getter, or will be different from a wanderer, will be different from an hermit, personality style. So it's really, really important that we know what personality we are manifest as a result of our experiences
Yeah.
with our fathers. Yes, yes.
So good. So
So,
good.
so good. Yep.
And what do you find that the issues that fatherless daughters have with boundaries or have with saying no? And I don't know if this is my question, but I just wanted to hear from you and then I'll go ahead and provide
You go
answers.
ahead and provide answers. The issues they have with boundaries is,
Yeah.
so I'm going to take you a little bit back into why we believe that the disconnect or the absence of a father in a daughter's life deeply affect her. So imagine a daughter who grew up without the bond with her father. It was one of the things we were talking about in the last series that I did with another guest, where as a result of the lack of presence of our father and that emotional bond with our father, and there's this theory, it's scientific based, where the heart of a human is shaped, the way the heart is shaped, but it carries the imprint of both the father and the mother. And so when the father leaves, what happens is that the father takes a portion of the daughter with himself. So imagine a daughter has a heart inside of her, and the father actually leaves with a portion of the heart, like takes a slice and leaves with him. What happens? It's going to create a hole in the girl's life. And the girl is going to go everywhere looking for places and things to do to fill that hole. And so if she's always longed to, be loved by her father, who's she going to seek love from? From friends,
Wow.
from the male counterpart, you name it, from a job, from a career. And we can see all of these different dysfunctional, styles and expressions that we go out seeking
So
for
true.
those things to fill that hole that our father never filled. And so you realize that because we're seeking it, boundaries is going to be the last thing on our mind.
Absolutely.
We don't mind sacrificing our lives just to be in a relationship, even though it's clear that the person doesn't like us as much as we do. That's the issue. Um, um, a go-getter person, a go-getter daddyless daughter will not mind, pouring into a job, even though she knows that she doesn't have time to even rest or relax or have fun or do other things. She's just going to soak it,
Overcompensating.
overcompensating. So there are no boundaries even with your career, your relationship, your life, and just creating a healthy life. So you realize that because we're out there seeking to fill that hole, and if we don't devise healthy ways to manage it, what
Yeah.
happens? The boundaries, the lack of boundary becomes a big thing, and it affects each and every one of us. So this will be a time for you to tell us what's the way forward. And before you even respond, if you know you want to get more of Brother Day's wisdom, make it to the Father's Day conference in June. Because she's going to be going in depth to provide real-time strategies and how you can apply these things into your life. So please go ahead, Brother Day. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, there are three things if you don't have boundaries, you would think that you have in your life. Because I always used to think, so why don't people set boundaries? Like,
Yeah.
why?
Why?
Because if you know this thing is good for you, and I'm sure if you're listening to us now, as you're listening to us, you're wondering, why is it hard for me to say no?
No,
It's hard
exactly.
for me to stand up for myself.
Hmm.
Why is it hard for me to cut out things I don't need to be involved in doing and say yes? Because you see, the consequence of saying no is also saying yes to something else. And
Absolutely.
sometimes the reason we are not even having a no is because we don't yet have a yes. So we just talk vaguely. I don't want, I don't want, I don't want. But till you say your yes very clearly, your no can never be clear. Till you say your yes to having a healthy relationship with yourself, you're going to allow self-sabotage, toxicity. Till you say yes to having a happy and whole marriage where both parties are spouses are respected, you won't say no to those snide comments, to the emotional abuse, and
Yep.
all of those attendant things. So when I thought about it, I said, why don't people say no? The number one thing I found was that thing called pseudo peace.
Mm.
Pseudo peace. You see, as you're sitting down and you're not really speaking up,
Mm.
there seems to be an air of peace.
Yeah.
Let's just not confront things. Let's just leave it.
Yeah.
If I start to talk, no need. I mean, Doris, you were sitting on your own. No one would have known that you were fatherless daughter if you
Yep.
didn't speak up.
If I didn't speak
Uh,
up.
and
Yeah.
that comes with its own attendant criticism.
Mm-hmm.
So you just sat down and you decided, I'm going to open myself up to criticism.
Yep. Yep.
Someone who hasn't said yes to purpose would never do that.
Yep.
Why? Because pseudo peace. The second one is people picker. That is the
Mm.
most compromised thing when someone has gone through especially a lasting trauma. Because living every day without a father, and when I say without a father, some of you, your fathers are still alive, but they're
Yep.
not active in your life. They're not
Yes.
present in your life. And in some cases, they even passed, no fault of their own, but you lived without them nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Mm-hmm.
others, they're estranged from you. No matter how you got here, there is a daily living trauma. When some people are like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to decide what job to pick. Let me call my
Mm-hmm.
dad. He will
Yep.
advise me.
You can.
Or my partner hit me. I'm calling
Mm.
my dad. Or I don't have money. I will call my
I'll call
dad
my
because no
daddy.
matter how old I
Who's
am, he
your
cares.
daddy?
Oh my gosh. But so if that thing happens to you, it
Mm.
starts to affect how you select people.
Yep.
Because psychologists have proven that the people we most detest and yet focus on. You see, these
Mm.
are the two things. The
Yep.
people, the characteristics you most detest, but you still find time to focus on, it begins to be what you see.
Yep.
Energy goes where attention flows. So
Yes.
you had an absent father, and you end up picking an absent and emotionally unavailable person to be your spouse.
Spouse.
How
Exactly.
is how? Like, this is
Yep.
so counterintuitive.
Yep.
You
Because
wonder
whatever
how?
you focus on grows. Yep. And you replicate the pattern. Yeah.
In fact, sometimes the person may come in with a healthy dose of security and wholeness, but the work you mold this person into that person. They will
Yep.
come back from work, they kiss you, they hug you, they tell you where they are. Like, why are you telling me everything? What's going on? All those things. Anyway,
Yep.
your people picker eventually goes to pick the type of person that is most prevalent in your mind.
In your mind, dominant thoughts. Yep. Exactly.
I don't know why, but there
People
is
picker.
something that our brains lock in. I mean, we're studying psycho-cybernetics now and all,
Yep.
right? Our
Yep.
brains lock into what our minds are focused on. They
Yes.
lock in. When we see that person, all the pheromones are released and you attract this person.
Yes.
So the reason
Absolutely.
why sometimes it's hard to set boundaries is that we picked these people ourselves. We
Yeah.
don't know why this toxic friend is in our lives, but what? We picked this person. So this person is here. We
Yeah.
live with it.
We live
We
with
say
it.
things like, everybody is not perfect. So
Mm.
just manage since you're
The
already in there.
devil,
You
you know,
don't
is
know
better
how to
than the
deal with
angel
this.
you don't know. Those kind of things. Yeah. Those are some of even in the personality test,
Yeah.
there are sections where I highlight communicative tendencies, some of the communications and the
Of
nails
those
and the
types.
statements of those type of personality. It's in there. So go take it so that you
And
hear
the
yourself
third
say it
one,
all over again. Yep.
yeah, the first one was pseudo peace. The second one is poor people picking. We don't know how to
People
pick the right
picker.
kind of
Yeah.
people. And then the third one is this purposelessness. When you
Mm.
haven't locked in, when you haven't locked into what you want to spend your life doing, whether in terms of your career, your legacy, your family, your health, if you haven't locked in, you don't have a purpose, a vision, a goal for the areas of your life.
Yep.
The Bible says, which is a faith I ascribe to, a city without walls can be invaded at any time. Is
Yes.
that someone without discipline is like a city without walls.
Without
So even
walls.
though purpose focuses you, it builds fences around you, which are just natural boundaries. Hey,
Yes.
Doris, why aren't you going to nursing class? Is because I signed up to study communication. It is
Yes.
such a natural boundary. You don't have to argue about it. Why aren't you going to this house? No, that's not my house. This is my
This is
house.
my house.
Your
Absolutely.
no's are definitive. You
Yes.
don't have to argue about it. Where is
Clearly
Doris at
described.
11 a.m. Central Time on
Mm.
Friday? She's on an IG live. You see? So the boundary, this is one of these are three of the key reasons why people
Mm.
don't set boundaries. And that includes fatherless daughters. And as we go deeper, we can unpack some of these things.
Yes. Woo. My goodness. This is deep, especially the poor people picker. Oh my God. In fact, all three, the pseudo piece. And to be honest, I know all daddyless daughters have identified with all of this.
Mm. Oh, we
Because
didn't even talk about people pleasing. There are others too, but people pleasing is there too. And
people
I know that
pleasing.
it seems like
Mm,
that is a particular personality type, but it's not. We
mm.
all have it in us, especially if we think that this person matters to us. We
Yes,
want to please them. So it's a good thing till it is abused,
yes,
you know?
yes, yes. And I love what you just mentioned. Most of these things are things that all daddyless daughter can resonate with. When we identify each personality, what we are trying to say is the dominant one in each
Mm,
style. So you can see that one person might express more people pleasing than the other.
yes.
And so when we put that under the category of the people pleaser category, it's like it's because the person manifests more of that as opposed to
Yeah.
the other who builds so much wall and it's so hard to even break down. And that's what I even want to hear you talk about because
Let's talk about that.
for
Let's
the
talk about that.
go-getter, for the go-getter, the issue is that they build this wall,
We
like
know them. They're on this call.
concrete walls.
They are like, let's make it 20 feet
They
tall.
make it 20 feet to stardom.
Oh my God.
And
You know,
for this,
many times people think of boundaries as putting up walls. No, boundaries are essentially what guides your goals.
yes,
Go-getter is driven by goals. You see, sometimes we try to bend personality type instead of flowing with personality type. You can't come
yes,
to the go-getter with tears and expect that our
no,
mind will change. It ain't gonna
no,
happen.
no, no.
You have to come from a standpoint of logic, of
Logic and
reason,
facts, objective.
yes, and aligning with go-getter's purpose.
Yes,
So if you come to go-getter and you say, go-getter, I'm your husband. You know how you say you love me and you want us to do things together and we can run this thing? They'll be like, yeah. I say, so I've thought about it and I think that if we had more date nights, we could end up, you know, that business you were talking about starting, we can use our Monday date nights to discuss it, and then our Friday date nights, we can then use it to quality time. Oh, really?
mhm,
So now Go Getter is not thinking, you just want to load my time up with date nights. Is one
yeah,
not enough?
yeah,
We can make it quality, everything. No, you come from that standpoint. So
yeah.
I think when we come from the standpoint of purpose, why do you want Doris to be involved in one more project? She just told you she's busy. If you let her know that her goals that she had shared with you for 2025,
There's an
this is
alignment.
our one. Yes.
Yes,
You
yes,
come from the standpoint of alignment. So go get her. I will say, anytime, first of all, congratulations for putting up excellent boundaries. And I think we're going to do it this way. We're going to talk through the
yeah,
personality types. Go get her. Excellent. Because the
yes,
first thing we want are fences.
yeah.
But you see, um, there's a there's rigid boundaries on this end, and then there's porous boundaries. Porous boundaries, anything can go.
Mm,
Anything that has legs that wants to walk in can walk in. Porous boundaries.
absolutely. Yes.
Rigid boundaries, literally nothing can come through.
Nothing. Hmm.
So rigid boundaries are like you build a fence, but you don't put a gate. Porous boundaries
Hmm.
are like you don't even have fence. Everywhere is a
Everywhere is
road.
open. All ye can enter into the gate.
So you want to stay in a healthy middle. You want
Yeah.
to stay in a health so that the people, because we were made to be relational beings. We were
Mm.
not made to be by ourselves. So every time the voice of isolation comes, you start to realize that this is an extreme of something that's supposed to be healthy.
Yeah.
So when you're in the middle where you do have space for people and things that you want to come in, you have yeses and you have nos. Here you have
Mm.
only nos. Here you have only yeses. You want that healthy middle where you have yeses and nos. So if you catch it like that, you can then set goals for relational.
Yeah.
Okay, go and research. How many hours a week do I have to spend with other people to rejuvenate my sense of
Mm.
self? Maybe
Mm.
use research and begin
Mm.
to then put it in your calendar and all. So whatever it is, and this is why I like to take questions and answers a lot. If you do have questions, go ahead and put it in the chat. We will, as we talk through,
Yeah.
respond to that because it's different for everyone. So
Yeah.
that one, I would say you do have yeses. Begin to use your yeses, not
Mhm.
randomly.
Yeah.
And then you are a relational being. Your goals don't have you. You have your goals. And feel free to tweak things. If I see a go-getter, begin to say a lot of yeses. I will say fantastic because you are overcorrecting now so you can stay in a healthy middle.
Yes. Yes.
But if I
Yeah.
see a people pleaser say a lot more no's, I can feel free because you're also what? Overcorrecting so that you
Overcorrecting.
can be in a healthy middle. So it will
Yeah.
first shape. This is why pseudo peace cannot be your desire.
Yeah.
Because I will end with this part on this topic. When people say they've been married 1 year and I'm like, how's the 1 year been? And they're like, so wonderful. We've never fought and all. I'm like, why don't
What?
you postpone the fights for later?
To
Because
your
the
five.
first year in your marriage, the first year in your work, is when you should have all the conflicts. I think the concern is that
Yeah.
conflict is something bad. No, talk to Dr. Doris. She's a conflict management doctorate degree holder. She can teach you more. But you want to fight, you want to have internal conflicts. That's where growth is. You want
Yes.
to have external conflict. That's where enrichment is. I'm not talking about makeup, sex, big fights. No, those are not
Oh
healthy.
no, we can talk about the makeup sex.
Yeah.
That's a whole new conversation. Because I don't know what that is. I'm like, why? Why are we doing this when we haven't resolved the main thing? Why?
What are we doing?
Honestly,
And then we need to
honestly.
fight so we can actually find each other attractive. What happened? This thing
I
is
love
on
it. I
demand.
love it. I love it.
So
I
that's
can
for
see
the
people
go-getter.
comment. I can
Mhm.
see your comments. Well done. And I'm glad that people are taking lots of nuggets as we're speaking.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. Lovely, 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 lovely. I love what we've just talked about so far. So
Do you
yeah,
want me to go into the next personality
please,
type?
please go. The
Okay.
magnetic is the next one.
The
This person
magnetic.
craves for closeness, longing for I love you. It's like I'm so attached. I can't even go to the cinemas without someone. Um,
You know the magnetic person by having that one person in your life.
mhm.
You know you can call at any time of the day and they're responsive to you. Now, if that person is your spouse, or if that person is your guardian,
Mm,
or if that person is your sister, and maybe you make that call only 3 times a year, that's fine.
mm.
But if that friend, you can literally pull them out of every meeting, you can ask them to be anywhere, do anything, you are beginning to look at magnetic. Everybody loves them,
Yeah.
literally.
They are
In
the
fact,
high personality, the
if,
influencers.
hmm,
They
if
want to be
you
everywhere.
say, this person did this to me, you can swear and say it's a lie. She didn't do it. That's the kindest person in this world. In
Yep.
fact, you'd be like, oh, she doesn't have an angry face. And you hear people talk at their birthdays, and you're just like, oh my gosh. You are just revealing the brokenness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think I've told you once, Doris, one of the biggest compliments someone gave me one time was that, you are becoming wicked, though. I thought it
Hmm.
was such a wonderful compliment
You
because this
said
is my
so.
natural disposition.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
magnetic. I love to be there for people.
Yeah.
It does something to me. It makes me feel like I'm in purpose. Issue is, I
Mm.
couldn't be there for those who I actually wanted to be there for because why? I was too busy being there for everyone.
Everybody.
So,
Mm.
for these people, the first thing you do is you remind yourself
Mm.
that you are a finite person.
Mm.
You are a finite, and I think we don't do enough root causes.
No,
See,
we
when,
don't.
when you say the Gems Daughters Network, Gem Daughters Network is that place where you come from the root because you guys have already identified, you ladies have already identified the root, you are then able to build from there. But if you
Yes.
just build on top, you just say, oh, I should stop these people pleasing, it won't work.
It won't
If you
work.
don't realize that the reason you started bending over backwards was because your dad left and you thought if you were the best and goodest and kindest and most docile person, he would come back.
And let me just say something. It's not just about the dad leaving, it's also how he left.
Oh, that's good.
And it differs for every daddyless daughter. So some people say, oh, your dad left, my dad left too. No, 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 no. How did he leave? And what conclusions did you draw from the leaving? And that now impacts your programming and what you manifest. And I love what you said. People just wake up and I'm just going to set goals. I'm no longer going to please anybody. And then it's like you meet them in the next quarter. How is that going? They're back in the mud because they didn't start from the root. So please go on. Go ahead.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. How he left. And I think Ian Lavanzant, she said this thing. She said, write the whole story. Like, don't, it's your paper, it's your biro, nobody's judging you. Write it the way you feel. I feel like my mother was very wicked. Why didn't she stay with my dad so that at least I would have had a father, even if he was beating her? Even if write out everything that ever occurred to you. That's not the space to judge yourself and be like, let me still be good. No, that's people pleasing. Still wanting you to sound nice because this diary you think and somebody's going to read it one day. No, this is the time to speak your truth. I think I was an ugly child. If I were pretty like that girl that was born of a white father and a black mother, maybe they would have loved me. If I were like this, if I were like that, if I were, say that thing, say it. And another thing she says, after you write that story, if it was 10 pages, the next time you write, cut it down to 2 pages.
Yes.
Next time you write, cut it down to half a page. Why? You're disempowering this thing. Yes, you thought it, but even as you're looking at it, does it not sound ridiculous? It does.
It does.
It's like Santa Claus. Yeah, we've all come to know. I remember they say, oh, if you open umbrella inside the house, whether it's collecting your blessing or something. You know, if you sweep in the night, you are sweeping your blessing. It's true that they said it. In fact, now, even if you are still opening, even the umbrella, when they say open, you are still opening small.
Your brain is going back.
Because there's an emotional resonance. Just agree first that this thing does not make sense, but it will still take time for it to wear off. So after you identify the root cause people pleaser and you see that it doesn't come from the healthiest place, you say, how I serve my purpose and the people that I treasure in my life is being judicious with my yeses.
Absolutely.
I don't have enough yeses to go around. And you acknowledge, see what I tell myself, I'm like, I'm a highly desirable person and I create and give so much value. Everybody wants me. Fact.
I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing because even in the personality test results, there's a section where people begin to learn how to reframe their communicative tendencies. So most people think, oh, I already know my personality. I think what Brother Day and Dr. Wesley is saying, I'm the go-getter and you're guessing. Please take the test so that you get to the root cause of all of this. You see your communicative tendency and you learn how to reframe them. Please go. Yes.
So good. So it gives you power.
Yes.
It tells you the problem. It tells you the solution all in one fell swoop.
Yeah.
It does. So these people pleaser, after you've acknowledged that, and you see that it doesn't stop you from being a good person when you say no. Imagine someone, this is how you should reframe things. Imagine someone told you that on your wedding day, please come and pick me up at the airport. It's your wedding day, you're about to walk down the aisle. Will a people pleaser, will they find it hard to say no?
Nope.
So sometimes we think it's hard to say no. It's because we have not weighed the consequences of our actions.
The cost.
We have not realized the importance of our presence. That's why you think you can give it up anyhow and everyhow. You've not realized the importance of your goal, so you're willing to compromise it just to be there for someone else. So when external validation starts to mean less than your internal sense of being, you will begin to leave this. So for this one, just find a way, do your write-up before ever you have the communication, because you need to rehearse. No doesn't come as naturally to you as it does to other people. I sit down and I calculate, how do I say, especially for somebody I love, it can be hard. But now I'm mastering it.
Nerve-wracking. Yes.
So yeah, that's the one I would say for people pleasing.
But
for the magnetic when you do say yes, it will count.
Yes.
When you do say yes, it will count.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Whoosh! Look at all the nuggets everyone is getting today. Thank you. Whoa.
Go ahead and share this video with your friends and family.
Exactly.
It's full of gems. It's full of gems, especially for those of you who didn't grow up with your dad or who grew up with your dad, but you cannot articulate this is the value.
And that's the root. That's the root. That's the root. And I know even some of the work we do within the Germ Daughters Network, yes, it's focused on dads, but we also consider the enablers. Our mothers are the enablers. Our siblings are the enablers. Our friends. And so all of these people are part of the equation. Yes, the father takes a very strong root and pillar because there's a lot of scientific, research to back that up, while the absence of that really creates a lot of chaos. But we have other people in our lives are the people that father solidify these dysfunctions and make
So
it
true.
take root. And so when you don't learn how to set these boundaries or how to live healthy or how to transform these past experiences, guess what? You might have felt like, oh, I'm now back to a relationship with my dad. I talked to him, but then the enablers are still enabling the dysfunctions around you. And so it's bigger than you think. Now let's move to the third
I
one.
think that's a perfect segue into Wanderers, because when I saw
Yes,
Wanderers, the word that came
wonder.
up to me was
Mm,
enmeshment.
yes,
Enmeshment. Because you see, you were so rejected from this side that when you now saw that, oh, this person loves you, you just cleaved.
click.
So there's no difference
Yes,
between your opinion and their opinions again.
nope.
Everyone has become, so this is how the relationship continuum is. You are independent all the way over here. You are dependent all the way here. And in the middle, you are interdependent.
Yes,
We are supposed to be interdependent beings. We need
yeah,
each other.
yep,
Now, you don't need another human being to live necessarily, but we are communal people. So
yep.
you want to have family. Guess what? You don't
Mm-hmm.
have family naturally. You can adopt them.
Yep,
You
yep,
can, yes, but not
yes.
like, oh, my mother is not here, my life is over. My
It's
sister is not here,
over.
my life is over. My dad is not here. No. But the dependent person, that's what they say.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this is why, for those kind of people, silent treatment can kill.
Oh,
It's almost like the
yes.
anxious, dependent type. Somebody says something, there's a way she said it, there's a way he said it. It begins to matter to you. You begin to, anybody that gives you the most intention,
Mm, mm,
anybody that gives you the most intention, you just
mm.
stay there. You know, NK is saying in the chat, she said, say that cleaving thing again. You
Yes.
have 5 friends. The friend that just gives you attention, you
It's the
don't,
one you go to.
that's not the person's value you are most aligned with. But that's
Mm.
better available. You are going to hang. Why?
You're gonna have.
Codependency.
Yeah.
You no longer, um, when it comes to independence, you say, I am me and you are you. When it comes to the interdependence, it says, I am me, you are you, and together we have something going on.
Yes. Yes.
Now, when it comes to codependence, me and you are not separate.
I
Adore it. How are you doing your hair so that I can do my hair like
can
that?
do my head that
No,
way.
which school are you going to? No, now we have to go to the same school.
Oh my goodness. The
We
emojis
have to
in the comments is getting
enmeshment.
cracking me up. Yes.
So
Yes.
you are with this spouse or you're with this boyfriend and you feel like I already said yes. So
Mm,
you just hang on for dear life. In fact, when people hear you sometimes, if you're an intelligent person, they
mm.
don't quickly realize because you couch it in very good language. If I
Yes.
were codependent, I'll just be like, oh, he completes me. She
Mm.
sees into we're soulmates.
We're soulmates.
My
We're
best
so
friend knows
into
what's
each
good for
other.
me.
We're so into each other.
Yeah, that they were like, oh, this is my friend. She just tells me the truth. She doesn't hold back. No,
Mm.
no. Or I just gave up my dreams. You know, when you become a mother, you start to think, what is most important? At the end of the day, the
My
children are most
children,
important.
my spouse. Yeah. Yeah.
Or he said he wanted to go back to school. So I just gave up everything I was doing because I'm like, I'm in this marriage for the long term. Everybody
Mm.
in the audience will clap like this. Yeah, I want
She's so
her.
humble. She's so humble. Such a good wife. Yeah. Yeah.
So realize that for this person, the first thing you have to do is to find yourself.
Yes.
Yourself
Yes.
is missing in the mix because you have become so absorbed that it's almost like water. Water goes into anything that is near it. If
Mm.
you put these 2 cups here, they don't mix into one. They can even be kissing each other like this.
Yep.
They're still separate.
They're still
But
separate.
when it comes to codependency, it's like water that you have mixed with milk. The two things
Mm-hmm.
are mixed.
And together.
You are you.
Yes.
It's almost like it will take it. This is why sometimes their separations are so violent because
Yeah.
it takes a literal chemical reaction to separate those two things.
Yes.
It takes heat. It takes. You understand? There must be
Mm-hmm.
pressure. So the
Mm-hmm.
person must either reject you or trauma. You
Yeah.
see that go getter. It's no longer working out. Okay, okay.
Okay, I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. It's so
Yeah, so that's finding
amazing.
yourself. You need to find yourself, know who
Find
you
yourself.
are,
You need to
master who
unlock
you
you.
are.
You need to
Yes,
unlock
unlock
you.
you.
Unlock
That is
you. That's
it.
the theme. Yeah, that's the topic for all the series. You
Because
need to
all this
unlock you.
codependency, when you invert it, the other
Mhm.
side of it, Because if you're a wanderer, that means you know how to really lock in.
Yes.
When you do find yourself, when you lock into yourself, we'll be begging you. We'll be like, "Ah,
Yeah.
we don't see you." You'll be like, you know what? I found this hobby. I love reading.
I love it. It's so
So
good.
if you want to see me, come to the library because
Yes. Yes. Yes.
still
Yes.
go.
Yes. And you begin to have a stronger sense of self-worth, you know, and it's so beautiful. I'm like, don't you
Absolutely.
see it? So, so beautiful. And even when you make connections with people from a healthy place, you know, I had a friend the other day who is a daddyless daughter, actually. The other day was like, Doris, you know, I'm just so excited that I'm on this other side. I was like, tell me more. And she said, I
Mm.
need to confess to you. I was like, tell me more. She said, you realize that there was a time that when she sent me a message and it took me hours to respond,
Hey,
she would go crazy. And I was like, now let's talk.
hey.
Now
And
let's
these are
talk.
the things to watch out for. Just
These are
begin to
the
watch out
issues.
how things do you. That
Yes.
person bought that blouse. Why didn't you buy for me?
Why didn't you buy for me? Like, why? Why didn't you
You
respond to
said
me as soon as I
it's
reached out to
4.
you? Yeah.
You got on the phone 5 minutes. The
Yeah.
person that wants to go, you now say, hey, are you busy?
Yeah.
None of your business. A wandering spirit is coming.
And then she's like, you know what was so painful is that I will see that you're online, but you will still not respond. I'm like, what is going on here? I'm a go-getter, man. I came here for a reason.
I
I'm
have
out.
goals. I have tasks to achieve. I got stuff to do.
I got stuff to do. So, so beautiful. Let's go to the final one. The hermit. The hermit persona. You know, this person, you know, manifest themselves as someone
Mm.
who struggles to form deep emotional connection. And this
Yeah.
one really, really bothers me. Like, I get so drawn to people that are hermits because I'm like, let me bring you over to this side. Life is sweeter on this side. You know, these are people that would appear aloof. You know, they are indifferent and hardly vulnerable, very
Yeah.
isolating, always sad. You know, it's almost like, and you know these people in your life, you hardly want to hang around them. Because it's like the
Mm.
moment you're with them, as soon as you leave their presence, you're drained. So how can we help the hermits set set boundaries for? I don't know if I would say set boundaries for themselves because they need to say, okay, enough. I need to get out of this shell. How do they navigate that?
Oh
Mm.
my.
Mm.
It's almost like if you had it, you see, sometimes we need to, this is why therapists talk about healing your inner child. Because
Mm.
don't imagine that your son didn't want to go to school anymore and didn't want to be in any clubs anymore, didn't want to be friends anymore. In fact, it's even worse when you know that he does have a valid reason because maybe something happened.
Yeah.
What would you tell him?
Ooh. Ooh, like I should respond now? Oh, that's a rhetorical question.
Try your best. Try your best. Like, what would you tell him? Of course, with understanding, with love and all, because it's not an easy place to be. But what would you say?
I'm very big at painting the bigger picture. Yes, I'm going to acknowledge the fact that he doesn't want to do all those things he has highlighted and get to the root cause of why. But still, I'm going to paint a picture why moving out of that and being a
Mm,
part of this beautiful side is worth it.
mm.
Yes, worth it.
So you see, in fact, what you answered is even way better than, I didn't even have any conception before I went in there, but what you
Oh,
said, you see, in this matter of purpose,
mhm.
cannot be separated from any of these strategies that we're using to achieve them. This matter, remember that purposelessness thing? One of the
Yes,
reasons people don't have.
yes.
If a hermit's desire on earth is to be a therapist, is to make sure other people don't go through what they've gone through,
Mm,
is to help people who've been in those circumstances, how can they do it effectively without opening up? Literally impossible.
mm,
So there has to begin to be that distance and between who you were, who was created with the traumas that she faced,
yes.
and who you desire to show up as.
Yeah, yeah.
It is that person who will pull you out of your gated fence
Mm.
is that person who will pull you, Rapunzel, out of your tower. Because you are locked in right
It's a
now.
you
You are
and me
literally
deal.
locked in. So
Mm.
anytime you find that there is a space in your life
Yeah.
that nobody is allowed in, except it's God's space. I have that space in my life. I have my me space, I have my God space, and I have my other people's
All the
space.
people's
But
space.
if in the
Absolutely.
space of even other people's space, I can't let people in, I
Mm.
start a business, I must do it by myself, with myself, for myself, I can't hang out with anybody and all, you start to see that you started becoming reclusive.
Yeah.
So begin in your fence to create a gate. Your
Mm.
gate should not be where people can only squeeze in. You might need to create a car-sized gate so that when you open it, the car can actually come in.
Yes.
Because it's stopping you from accomplishing
Yeah.
many things.
Yeah.
It's stopping you from being in purpose. And then
Mm.
realize that the people in your lives, when the current people or the people you want in your lives, are not the people that hurt you.
Mm.
Even your current father now, if he's still available, may not be the same person that did what he did.
Whoosh. Now you're going deeper. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. I love it.
And staying in the past
Mm.
is precluding you from a bright future
Absolutely.
where you
Yeah.
matter, where you count, where you're
Mm.
loved, where you're celebrated.
Yeah.
These are human needs. This
Yeah.
isn't a wish. We all have the need to be loved, accepted. If
Yes.
one person doesn't give it to you, another person, another
The
community
person will.
can give
Will.
it to you.
Yeah.
But it's only when we remain open that we
Yeah.
can do that. So
Yeah.
your boundaries are with the past. Your
Yeah.
boundaries are with the hurt. Your
Mm.
boundaries are with the pain. They're not with somebody else who is bringing love, joy, peace into your life.
Into your life. Oh. Oh my God, this is amazing. I'm really excited because now I'm like, if we're doing this, like giving all these germs, how would the conference look
How
like
would the conference
when
be?
we
June
sit down and
14th.
listen to Lady Coach Braladay, Braxy, just take us on this journey of boundaries and so much other,
For the conference, we're going to have an actual workshop session where we will
workshop
sit down and
session.
begin to write. We're going to have
Yes.
Q&A where you can ask questions as
Questions.
well, right?
Yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes. So make it a date. I know more information will be put up on our page, and it's on
Follow
June
this page.
14th. Yes, on
Mhm.
Germ Daughters Network page, we'll announce the speakers, and it's open. Come all in. But I just want to take this opportunity to really thank you for going through, what this looks like. And if there's anything, if you're just joining in and you didn't listen to what we said earlier, boundaries and even the way we live our life differs based on our personality.
Yeah.
We've got to stop this whole thing of getting, copy and paste the way we did in high school, where you see one person doing one thing and then you're like, I want to do the same thing. Ask yourself, who am I?
Wow.
Unlock you. Do the test. Know who you are. And I've said this earlier and I'll say it again. When you take the personality test, yes, you are aware that this is the dominant persona that you carry with you, which is back from the dominant, traits that you're expressing. But you get to realize some caution hazards. And that's one of the things inside. It's like, beware of this because you manifest this. Now, take note of this other side of you, just in case it manifests. This is how you navigate it. And we don't have a lot of personality tests that is that comprehensive. A lot will just tell you, oh, this is what you
Especially for
manifest,
your
and that's it.
situation. Yeah.
Yes. And in fact, as we keep evolving it, we're even getting to a point where we want to even bring in
Wow.
insight on how each personality manages conflict, which is a different thing entirely. Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. So we're having the key expressions. How do you express yourself? And then we talk about based on your personality, you get to know your emotional needs, the greatest one, the dominant ones, your fears. We all carry different fears, and it's as a result of our experiences. So a go-getter fear will be different from the kind of fears that the hermit will express. And so when we know these things, know thyself, we help the people in our lives to help us love us better and know us better. And then you
Mm.
also get to identify your greatest beliefs. Because, like they say, your beliefs will drive your behavior.
Yes.
It will. And so when you learn your beliefs, you begin to see, oh, I see why I have this communicative tendencies. I see why I think this way. I talk this way. I use these exact phrases this way. You know, it doesn't get better than this. I'm like, what are you doing on the other end of not taking this personality test? And then you get to identify your strength. Because yes, you're an emit, you're a go-getter, you're a wanderer, you're magnetic, and it's all that. It's not bad because there's some strength that those personality embodies and carry, and you have to carry it with all your heart. It's like put it as a badge on your chest. I tell people I'm a go-getter person now. I'm a go-getter daddyless daughter, and it's obvious, but with that comes my caution. I gotta be aware of, okay, beware.
Yes.
Beware, because while you're going, you can be stepping on people's toes, you can be hurting people, and you can be walking yourself up and burning out. You know, there's exhaustion from that as well. We have the hidden wounds. One of the things we talked about last Unlock series that I had a guest on, and if you haven't watched the video, just go on our Instagram page, you see it live there. I was asking this beautiful, you know, lady, some of the daddy wounds that are showing up in areas of our lives. You know, you can have daddy wounds showing up in your career, in your relationships, you know, in your relationship with God, in your finances,
Yes.
everything. So
People don't talk about that one.
everything. And then you also learn this dysfunctional, you know, tendencies that you're likely to manifest. And the beautiful thing about it again is that when you know all of this, like I always ask people, so what? Now what? Now what means you now get implementation guides and plans on your healing and transformation, which differs for each personality. You get the next step, the further step, you know, and all of the beautiful germs that it brings. And like I always tell a lot of daddyless daughter, doing this work can be exhaustive. It can be a lot. So be a part of a community. Like Braxy and I, we know how this thing goes, right? It's like the way we always say, we're all in this together, and we be a part of the community, because it can be exhausting to sit down and be like, you mean I'm going to start doing this work all alone? And then you start on the first day, by the third day, you're like, see, I can't keep myself. This life is not balanced. But when you're doing it with others who are also daddyless daughter like you are, you know, you get to realize that I'm not in this alone. And even what we shared today, even if you're not a daddyless daughter, I'm sure you've still taken something out of it, especially with the boundaries and, you know, the people pleasing. We all manifest these things, whether you're daddyless or not, although there's some degrees to which people express them. So go ahead and just get all in. I'm like, what are you waiting for? Brax, did you have any other thing to say? It's been beautiful so far.
Three things you got to do. Number one, register for this conference, June 14th. Write it down. Don't miss it. Follow Dr. Doris and be on this Gem Daughters Network page. I'm sure you already follow it, because if you haven't followed, don't even report yourself. Just go do it. Number two, you want to watch this again, because Dr. Doris dropped so many gems. Even from the beginning, she started talking about the different types, which you'll find your type. But guess what will enrich the conversation more for you? When you actually go take the test. You can find it in the link in this bio. When you actually go take the test, you will see too then that you have more insights, even from this conversation we just had. And the final one is that, what are you doing? We have people in our lives. You got to send this replay to them. Go ahead and send them these videos for them to watch and talk about it. I mean, look at Dr. Doris is my friend. When we get together, what do we talk about? Stuff like this. We talk about the research around it. We start to come up with solutions and just insights. This is rich conversational stuff, and it's for absolute free. Like, what? What? Definitely get you registered for the conference. Engage with this resource again and share it.
And share
with your friends.
Oh, thank you. This is where I want to give you a hug, like deep virtual hug. Thank you so much. You see, you know what came to mind? Thank you so much, Dr. Braxy, because I know you're there. You're there already.
The many one year. Oh,
One
yeah,
year. Oh,
2 months.
we're there. Thank you so much for your insights, for your time, and for just coming to just share so much germs to this community. We do appreciate you. And we can't wait to see you in June. We can't wait.
Thank
We
you
can't wait
so
for the
much.
workshops, for everything. We can't
I
wait.
appreciate
All
you. Thank
right.
you.
Let's know if you have questions. Definitely send us private messages if you can, if you have any. And until next time, have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. All right. Bye bye. Thank you. Thank you.